there. I'm Evelyn Jerome Alexander with Magellan College Counseling. I'm based here in Los Angeles, and we have a team of independent counselors across the country helping students all over the US with their college search and application process. I'm really excited today to have David Lucas, who is an Assistant Director of Admission at Kettering University in Michigan, joining me, and we're specifically talking about co-ops today. A lot of people don't know what a co-op is, so David is going to give us a little sort of high-level information about what a co-op is and why you should consider looking at colleges that offer co-op opportunities. So David, help us out. What's the difference between a co-op and an internship?
Thank you for having me. So co-op and an internship, biggest differences on a high level. A co-op is a paid position. Most internships are free. So at universities that offer co-op programs, you're looking for positions that, hey, going to be progressive in nature, it's going to build every time you go back, and you're being compensated for your time. I know a lot of times at internships, students they're very short. You might only have 30 to 60 days. Most of the internships, you don't really have meaningful work. So at a lot of internships, you become a gopher. It's like, hey, can you go get those papers off the printer or go get me something to eat? So at co-ops, you should have actual work functions. You should be working on a team, and you're definitely, every time you go back, you should be learning something new to progress your future and your career.
Great, that's fabulous. Okay, so now we understand the difference between a co-op and an internship. Tell me how Kettering does co-ops a little bit differently, because I know there are a handful of colleges that have pretty well-established co-op programs, but Kettering's is a little bit different.
Correct. So at Kettering, we always like to say we have the Kettering co-op. So there are other universities that do focus on that. We've got some great competing universities out there who have well-established co-op programs, but they're not like ours. So at Kettering, our students actually work 6 months a year, every year. So students will come to school for a 3-month academic term. They take their exams, then you go to work full time for 3 months at your career of choice. We offer 13 majors. Every student works full time. So after you do that 3-month stint, you'll go back to school, 3 more months in the classroom, take your exam, head right back to that exact same employer, 3 more months full time. Our co-ops, they all progress in nature. So every time you go back, you have actually increased workload. Your co-op employers actually get your academic schedules. They can see what classes you just had. Oh, you just had thermodynamics. Okay, you're gonna work in this lab now. So every year you go back, it's more and more progressive. By the time our students graduate from Kettering, each student will have 2.5 years of paid work experience on their resume. And that's a real difference.
That is really a humongous difference. It sounds a little bit different than what most people think of as a college education, but not in a bad way. It's just we have to shift our thinking a little bit. So give us a couple sort of concrete examples of why high school students and their parents should consider looking at colleges that incorporate a co-op into their education.
So I'm a big proponent for a co-op program. I graduate from a Big Ten university. I will tell you this color scheme hurts to wear in my hometown, but I will say this. The difference is, if for students who are looking for a traditional college model, I usually weigh it out like this for seniors. You're gonna have 2 choices your senior year. You can choose school A, which is any other school, and you're gonna go sit in the lecture hall for the next 4 years. Or if you know you wanna be an engineer or scientist or go into business like we offer, you can come to Kettering and we'll put you in that career right now. So you really have to know what you want out of academics. So you still have classes here. There's still books. We still have some lecture halls, not as many, but you're still gonna do the studying. The main thing is though, we're gonna give you the work experience. There's so many students who don't know what they wanna do. This is why you come to a school like this. If you said, hey, I wanna be a computer engineer, well, how do you know? You've never been one. If you come to Kettering, I'm gonna make you one right now. Go work as a computer engineer, see what you think. And if you like it, great, you're already in your company. If you don't like it, come back to campus, change your major, we'll get you that job. So by the time our students graduate from Kettering, you've got a resume, with 2.5 years experience on it. You're doing what you want to do because you picked the job. And then you still get your shiny piece of paper just like every other school. It's a great marriage.
Great information. Really appreciate it. There are other colleges that have co-op programs.
Yes.
It sounds like Kettering is very laser focused on science, engineering, and business. Is that right?
Yes, science, engineering, business is our key. Most of our students, we've got every discipline of engineering short of civil. We don't do architectural engineering. Other than that, everything is here. Our science programs for biology, chemistry, biochem, applied physics, all here. And we do have a great business management program. Business management actually used to be one of our top majors back in the days where it used to be General Motors Institute. So it's back and it's pretty involved. You got to be ready for it.
Got it. And give us just a little bit of basic information. Where are you? How big are you?
Yep, our school is located in Flint, Michigan. So it's the home of GM. Most people don't realize GM started in Flint. It actually started right across the street from our campus. So we've been around since 1919. We just celebrated our centennial last year. Student population is about 2,000 students. We're a very small campus, but the reason why that's a benefit for us, we have small class sizes. The average class size is between 14 to 17 students. It's hands-on learning, lab-based. We only teach with professors. There's no teaching assistants, no graduate assistants. So every time you go to class, you have a professor. And 85% of our professors have their PhDs from industry to come back to teach. So it's a different learning model. As far as your work experience, students can work anywhere. Now, a lot of students, because we used to be general, there's a lot of students still want to be in big auto, and every automotive supplier has co-ops through us. But we do have students who work in all states in the US, and you can work internationally. I've got kids working in Europe, I've got kids in China, I've got kids in Mexico, kids in Canada. It just depends on what jobs interest you and where you want to go.
It's funny, a lot of times when I add colleges to my students' lists, the parents will look at the names and they'll say, "What's that? I've never heard of it." And they assume I've never heard of it. Since they've never heard of it, no one in the universe has heard of it. And the problem is, how is my kid going to ever get a job if they graduate from this college that nobody has ever heard of? But what you're telling me is you have that job component just baked right into the way you educate students. So just not an issue.
Yeah, it's not an issue here. And this is the main reason that I tell every student, you really need to focus on what do you want your 10-year plan to be. When you come to a school like Kettering, or any school that has a co-op, but definitely a school like Kettering, if you tell me you want to do something, we're going to laser focus and drill down on that. You actually start classes in your major freshman year. If you tell me, hey, I want to be a mechanical engineer, why am I giving you a history course? You said you want to be a mechanical engineer. Let's start this right now. Because in 3 months, I'm sending you to work. Let's see what you do. So when our kids graduate, they're just so far ahead of the curve. We actually have had quite a few of our students, recent alums, who are already international vice presidents, and they're in their mid-20s. We've had kids make the Forbes 30 under 30 list. And you can do it in all industries. A couple of our last commencement speakers, one of the ladies is a CFO of Old Navy, another's a vice president at Walt Disney. They're both mechanical engineering alums from Kettering. It's just, you can go to so many different ways with this, but things that parents need to know, the real difference becomes here. It doesn't matter where your kid gets a degree. There's 5,000 plus colleges in the US. Every university will give you the shiny piece of paper. You get the shiny piece of paper, hang on your wall, looks great. The difference here at Kettering, you have the work experience. So I even have students who's like, well, the school, hey, I can go over here and it's free. Okay, you could, but here's the thing. Are you gonna have a job in 4 years? And right now we happen to be in the midst of a global pandemic. And I feel bad for so many of the seniors graduating this spring because if unemployment hits 20%, who's hiring them?
Right.
You don't have the shiny piece of paper. You have no work experience. You've sat in a lecture hall for 4 years. You've studied, but you don't know how to do anything yet. Our current seniors, they're not worried. They're already in their companies. They've been working for the last 4 years. So they'll be able to weather the storm a lot easier. And again, I know when I came out in 2001, there was a recession then. 2008, another recession. You never know when
Again,
it happen. So at
sure.
least having that ability to hedge with work experience already, if a student shows up with a resume that's had 4 years work experience and another student shows up and he just has a shiny piece of paper, who's the company hiring every time? Oh, this kid worked. Let's give him a job. So that's a huge advantage. So I definitely tell students, look for colleges that give some form of co-op. And at Kettering, the most expansive one in the nation.
The answer that I always give is the job that students get immediately out of college has everything to do with the internships or the co-ops that they've done during college. And so I appreciate your helping me shine a spotlight on the concept of the co-op and helping people understand what it is. A lot of people don't know what a co-op is, and shine a little light on Kettering University. I'm happy to let people know. And again, especially if you're an engineer or a scientist or interested in business, Kettering is one of those fabulous options that you may not have heard of it, but the employment world has. So David Lucas, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. If anybody has questions, please reach out to us. We're always here in the office.